What's going on in social media land? Pissed off American here. Let's talk about President Obama, Saudi Arabia, all the executive orders that are being put in place, martial law, UN Global Police Force. This is what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, first off, quite a long time ago, before Barack Obama was elected president, Israeli intelligence intercepted a meeting between a bunch of Saudi Arabian princes and royalties and this and that. And during the conversation, one of them stood up and said, "Be patient, my friends. We will have a Muslim-planted president in the United States very soon." This was a Israeli intelligence interception. It is a fact. Now, after that, not long after that, President Obama ran for president and won. Since then, he has been putting in play all kinds of executive orders. These executive orders allow him to take over energy, agriculture, transportation, every aspect of our country. He can walk in and take over using military force if need be during time of peace or time of war. All he's got to do is declare any kind of state of emergency. Now, President Obama has got his eyes set on the Secretary General position for the UN, United Nations, which will basically put him in charge of the global police force. Now, with the global police force, right now, America is the global police force. Now, the UN is trying to take over that position, make America drop off as the #1 world power so that the UN can stick their global police force in all continents, all countries across this planet. This is the plan. Now, the reason that they've been putting all these executive orders in is because of Barack Obama is planning on going to the UN. And what their plan is to get an uprising in this country. They want to destabilize America so they have a reason to put United Nations Global Police Force in this country in order to combat the civil uprising they're trying to create. Now, this has been created by allowing the Black Lives Matter to run up and down the streets, screaming kill cops, fuck white people, and all this other stuff. This is the reason the president hasn't come out and said anything about this. This is why he hasn't come out and condemned the Black Lives Matter, the Black Panther parties, and all these racist fucking movements. This is the reason that he brings them to the White House and thanks them for all their hard work of burning down cities and terrorizing communities. This is the reason. Now, when he goes and he quits the President of the United States, around the time his term ends, the Secretary General for the United Nations position opens up. Now, this is going to give him the power to control the global police force for the United Nations. Now, keep in mind, the United Nations, when they first started, they were called the United Arab Nations. But they realized that the world would not accept them because the Arab nations all practice Sharia law and don't give women rights. And, well, if you've done any research on Muslim countries, you know how disgusting they are and just how barbaric nature they live. And anyway, the reason that he's going to go over to the UN is because they're going to cause enough civil uprising here by bringing in all these illegal immigrants, forcing them all to vote Democrat by saying, you know, hey, if you vote Democrat, we're the ones going to keep you in the country. The Republicans want to throw you all out, which basically sends millions and millions of voters to the voter box for the general election to vote Democrat because the far left is making all the immigrants think that all the Republicans hate immigrants. So the immigrants will flock over to the Democratic side, vote Hillary Clinton into president. Now, when she becomes president, she is going to declare a state of emergency due to Black Lives Matter, racist movements, all these civil uprisings, burnings, protests, riots, everything else. When all this starts happening, Hillary Clinton is going to declare a state of emergency. She's going to call upon Barack Obama from the United Nations and say, look, we need your global police force to help combat all this civil uprising, which is what the United Nations Global Police Force specializes in, is going into conflict areas where there is civil uprising and basically disarming the civilians in that country while putting their own law and order into effect. And again, United Nations is United Arab Nations. They just changed the name. They didn't change their fucking outfit. They didn't change their views or their ideas or their ideology. They only chose to change the name. And that was so that the whole world would accept the United Nations, because they wouldn't accept the United Arab Nations, because everyone knows that Arab nations that practice Sharia law are barbaric fucking animals. Now, with all that said, when she does declare a state of emergency, Barack Obama is going to flood this country, along with a lot of other countries, with the UN police force. Now, it's already started. They've got the Strong Cities Network that they've started in this country. I believe there's 20 cities across the planet right now, places like Paris and London, places like Minneapolis, Boston, New York, Chicago, places like that here in America, that they're going to implement these Strong City Networks. They've already got United Nations troops in America right now working with local police departments in some of these cities: Boston, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York. Now, what they do is they come in, they basically retrain all local police departments, they restructure the law and how to deal with civilians and civil uprising. Now, the reason for all this is because they want to take America off the table as far as the global police force. They want the United Nations to use the global police force. They want them telling the world what they can and can't do. And let me tell you, people, they have been building this United Nations army for decades. And it's an unbelievable army. And if they dismantle American military, dismantle American society, economy, and start dismantling politics in Washington, guess what happens next, folks? The United Nations, foreign troops come into the United States. They start telling you and me where we can go, what we can do. Because guess what? State of emergency, martial law, they take over transportation, energy, agriculture. Now we're begging for food, we're begging for energy. And guess what? If your political views don't line with theirs, you don't get shit. That's why they want everybody on EBT. That's why they want everybody on government assistance programs. Because at that point they can tell you, have our views or we cut you off. And if we cut you off, there's no jobs, there's no nothing. You can't have shit. We control your life. This is the point of the United Nations. This is the point of Barack Obama. And this is Hillary's plan. This is the reason we have to stop Hillary from winning, because this is the plan that's been in effect for quite some time. This is not a Democratic or a Republican plan or a United States plan. This is an Arab nation plan. This is simply Muslims and the Arab countries over there that practice Sharia law that are implementing this. Why do you think Saudi Arabia hasn't taken any immigrants when they've got 3 million tents they could take 6 million freaking refugees, and they're right around the corner? They don't accept them because they don't want them there, because the idea was to flood the world with Syrian refugees and refugees from all over the place to basically infiltrate all these countries, start getting into politics, getting into elected official jobs and things like that, and start changing our laws. Now you got them doing the transgender laws, you got them doing Muslim laws. Now Muslims can pray in school, but a Christian kid that does like this gets suspended. It's fucking ridiculous. This is the infiltration they do. This is Muslims. It started 1,400 fucking years ago, and it's been going on ever since. You people need to wake up out there. Islam is a fucking disease. It's a cult. It is trying to take over this fucking planet and tell you and me their laws are the only law. Allah is the only God. Muhammad is the only prophet. And I'm telling you this right now. Fuck Allah, fuck Muhammad, and fuck Islam, and fuck Muslims. I'm telling you, this shit's coming. Arm yourself, prepare yourself, and when they come for you, put them down like rabid dogs.